My claim was denied. Only one of these three should have been. NAPAICC Insider Research Desk, Tampa Bay, Florida. A flood exclusion denial, a paperwork denial, and a wear and tear denial each landed on a homeowner's desk within the same month. But a case-by-case review finds only one of the three was actually wrong. The findings illustrate why a denial letter by itself tells you almost nothing, and why the same three words, claim denied, can mean three unrelated things. Key takeaways. 1. A denial is not by itself evidence of wrongdoing. Some denials are a correct application of a policy exclusion the homeowner didn't know existed. 2. The most common correctable denial isn't a coverage fight at all. It's a procedural or documentation gap that can be cured with the right paperwork. 3. A true wrongful denial traces back to a specific identifiable error. The wrong policy provision applied to the actual cause of loss, not simply a disagreement about fairness. 4. In all three cases reviewed, the correct response depended entirely on which of these three conditions was actually present. Case 1. The flood exclusion. A correct denial. Loss type, rising water. Policy type, standard homeowners, no flood endorsement. Outcome, denial upheld. A homeowner's first floor took on several inches of water during a prolonged regional storm. She filed a claim under her homeowner's policy and received a denial letter within 2 weeks, citing a flood exclusion. She was certain this was a delay tactic. The water had clearly come from the storm that damaged her whole neighborhood. I thought flood exclusion was just the word carriers use to avoid paying anything. The evidence told a narrower story. Standard homeowners' policies exclude damage caused by surface water, overflow of a body of water, and storm surge, collectively defined as flood, regardless of the storm that caused it. Wind-driven rain entering through a broken window or damaged roof is typically covered. Rising groundwater entering at ground level typically is not, unless a separate flood policy is in place. This homeowner did not carry one. Diagnosis. A correct denial. The loss fell squarely within a standard disclosed policy exclusion. There was no procedural error to fix and no wrongful decision to appeal. The lesson: know the difference between storm damage and flood damage before assuming a denial as a tactic. Claim 2. The missing proof of loss. A correctable denial. Loss type: wind and hail, contents and structure. Denial basis cited: failure to submit a sworn proof of loss. Outcome: reversed on resubmission. A second homeowner's claim was denied roughly 10 weeks after filing, with the letter citing his failure to submit a sworn proof of loss within the policy's required timeframe. He was confident he had sent everything requested, and the denial felt punitive. A review of the file found a documentation gap rather than a substantive dispute. The homeowner had submitted photos, an itemized loss list, and a contractor estimate, but not the specific sworn, notarized proof of loss form his policy required as a separate document. The carrier had requested it by mail. The homeowner, working from email correspondence, had missed it. Diagnosis: a procedural denial, a genuine documentation requirement, not a coverage dispute. Once the correct form was located, completed, and submitted along with a written request to reopen, the claim was reinstated and moved to adjustment within 2 weeks. The lesson: a denial citing a missing document is usually solved by producing the document, not by arguing about the loss itself. Claim 3, the wear and tear label, a wrongful denial. Loss type: roof damage following a windstorm. Denial basis cited: wear and tear, not a covered peril. Outcome: denial reversed on reinspection. A third homeowner's roof was denied on the basis that the damage reflected wear and tear and age-related deterioration, not storm damage, despite a documented windstorm passing directly over the property days earlier. The report described my roof like it had never seen a storm. It ignored the storm entirely. Case summary: Claim autopsy research notes. An independent reinspection, supported by weather event data for the date in question, found creased and lifted shingles consistent with wind uplift, along with granule loss patterns inconsistent with simple aging. The original inspection had not accounted for the storm date at all, instead characterizing pre-existing granule loss as the sole cause without addressing the wind pattern evidence. Diagnosis: a wrongful denial. The applicable peril was ignored rather than properly evaluated. A written appeal, supported by the storm data and the reinspection report, resulted in the denial being reversed and the claim reopened for adjustment. The lesson: a denial that ignores an obvious, documented peril is a claim worth appealing, with evidence, not outrage. Analysis: 3 denials, 3 different causes. 3 homeowners received the denial letter and reached the same conclusion: it must be wrong. Only one of the 3 actually was. Not because the other 2 homeowners' frustration wasn't real, but because they diagnosed the letter before they understood what it was actually saying. Applying the wrong response in any of the 3 would have produced a worse outcome, disputing a lawful, disclosed exclusion that was never going to change, missing a simple documentation fix by escalating into a fight, or accepting a denial that ignored the actual evidence of the loss. The trap isn't receiving a denial. The trap is treating every denial as the same event. Some denials are correct and final. Some are a paperwork gap waiting to be closed. And some are wrong and correctable, but only with evidence. Until that distinction is made, it is impossible to know whether the right response is acceptance, resubmission, or appeal. Clinical Pearl: a denial is an outcome. It is not a diagnosis. Editorial note: homeowner names, adjusters, carriers, and claim specifics in this report are composite and fictional, constructed for illustrative and educational purposes. They do not describe any actual individual, insurer, or pending matter. This report does not constitute legal or insurance advice.